I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And this is Damage Incorporated for the big homie.
Metallica, Overshadow Sean.
Shout out to the big homie.
Sorry for breaking your heart, buddy.
For timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America with Vin and Sori. There are multiple ways to get your song reviewed. Dear listener, we have returned from our hiatus.
Maternity leave,
So,
as some call it.
Inshallah, at some point,
We have a baby boy.
we can get back to doing the work and getting into a working mindset. Timely topical political commentary, hit us up in Middle America with Vin and Sori. And if you want your song reviewed, best way to do it is Patreon. $1 at the gate gets you in. You join an alliance, and that helps determine what songs we do. And there is also this brilliant tactic, which is $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. Vin and Sori merch at gmail.com. You can do that via PayPal.
FYI, anybody who's on Patreon is having some issues right now. So it's like telling me I have like tons of messages to go through, and I started clicking on them, and they were messages that I sent to other people. So it's not, so it's, they said they're working through their issues. So inshallah, that'll be worked out quickly. But in the meantime, I am sifting through my own messages to find your messages.
Yes, you beautiful people. So, having
Sure worth it.
having said that, this is Metallica.
Damage Incorporated.
Damage Incorporated.
Here we go.
What is this is on the Puppets record, he said?
Yeah, I believe so.
Alright, let me get my lyrics up. I'm not familiar with this
It ends
song.
with the fury known as Damage Incorporated.
Is this a
Let's
last
see, do I feel like breaking something or not?
song on the record?
Apparently.
Alright, well, let's do it. That's a bass. Shout out to the big homie Cliff Burton. Rest in peace, big homie.
Yep, I feel like breaking something already. No, I don't.
I love that song, bro. That middle. That was tight. That's a good song.
Yeah, it's funny. Even when you just repeated the sound of it, it had like a riding a horse feel to me. I thought.
Well, yeah, they call it like galloping or whatever.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, that's what they call it. Get the thing out there. That middle part is crazy.
Ridiculous.
This part right where it goes da-da-da. That bass is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. Then you hear the bass come in where it goes da-da-da. Watch.
Yeah.
Da-da-da.
Is Cliff Burton your favorite
That's tight.
bass player?
I don't focus a lot on bassists. You know, like.
So you don't know who your favorite is?
Honestly, my favorite bassist is the guy that's in our band.
Oh, really? I thought for sure it was going to be Orion. Nergal's band. Orion.
Oh, well, I
like his.
I love
energy,
his I love his stage presence. I love his looks. But like as far as like skill, like our bassist is like a legitimate like. Once everything comes together, people will see. Like I'm not talking
next
shit.
level.
This guy, the guy is like he should be legendary. Mm-hmm. This guy, it's just you know the cards he was dealt or whatever. But the guy is, I mean, we'll see if you can find somebody like this guy in our. But so honestly, like because I've been listening to his stuff for the last
oh my gosh
2 years.
Yeah.
Every time we're in the car.
It's literally still in the car. I keep saying, again, I gotta change it to
We're gonna change it. We're gonna put somebody else in, but he's been in the car, so.
But it doesn't.
So he's my favorite bassist, but Cliff Burton, I mean, the guy, I mean, he's legendary. I mean, look, like from the start of the record, was him. That little intro, that was him, and then just that thing at that.
You know what? There was parts of it where
it's just crazy.
Felt like I was gonna hear them say "A moth into the flames."
Well, yeah, they did a song. Well, they did a song called "Moth to the Flame."
Yes, I know, but didn't it kind of sound a little bit?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's yeah. I think if you've been around for like 40 years, like Metallica has, and these guys been around before we were born, so like, I'm sure there's going to be some overlap, but there's enough distance between the two records to where you could recycle something like that and get away with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, that's, on a much smaller level, it happens with my cooking. That kind of is like that.
Yeah, like if we ever did like a full-length record of our songs, like by album 3, there'd be a lot of recycled riffs. People be like, wait a second, I heard that before.
Maybe. I don't think so with you, though.
I gotta stop playing Peter's shit to everybody because...
You do that?
I played it to Zoe. Me and Zoe were taking a ride, and she's like, did you make that beat? I said, which one? The one where... With your mom singing? She's like, no, the other one. I'm like, oh, okay.
Babe, I'm so sorry.
Said,
it's a good one.
I said, forget it. I'm making a video on that one. Did I send you the lyrics that Peter wrote?
No.
They're very, very good, actually.
You've been showing that to everybody else, too?
No. I haven't shown anybody those lyrics.
This
This
is
song...
corporate America, or what are we talking about here?
Well, it's interesting, because, okay, so one of the things I was doing when I was listening to the song is like, okay, how does that fit in with the whole Master of Puppets theme, which is people that are controlling you from outside and you're sort of, a marionette type of situation. And it seems that the record is almost like chiastically structured. So Battery starts off, right? So it's sandwiched with Battery and Damage Incorporated. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the lyrics in Battery, it's like survival of the fittest type stuff, right? Like, lashing out the action, returning the reaction, we prevent the torn away, blah, blah, blah. Smashing into the boundaries, lunacy is found, and cast out the battle array. So, it looks like they are kind of setting the tone of the record where it's like their music, their heaviness is like unstoppable and nothing can control it. Mm-hmm. Right? So you can't stop the battery. And then crushing all deceivers, mashing non-believers. So it's like they have like this ultimate power with their music that cannot be controlled.
Yep.
And then if you go to the last song, it's Damage Incorporated. It's them saying like,
so it's the record label.
we're not gonna conform. Well, I think it's just in the world of Master of Puppets, right? Like, Master of Puppets obviously is about drugs, you know, and you're being, you know, controlled by drugs. Thing that should not be. This monster sanitarium, you know, you're being controlled by the people in the mental institution. Disposable heroes, you're lied to by your government.
Yeah.
Leper Messiah, you get controlled by your religion. So Orion's just in this. So the whole album, it has this theme of like being controlled by powers outside of your, you know, your control. But Battery is the opening song and Damage Inc. is the closing song. So it's like, that's a chiasm where you have a structure that like starts with something and then it ends with that same thing. And then in the middle you have, you know, the basic theme. Mm-hmm. So I'm listening to this and I'm like, well, they're saying that they're not going to be, you know, they're ending the record by saying we're not going to be controlled by anything.
Yeah.
Right? We're damaged people, you know, whatever, and we've all come together and we work as one, and we're bloody but never cry submission. So like we're not going to conform to anything. We're not going to be ruled by anything. We're not going to be controlled by anything, whether it's, you know, drugs or Cthulhu or the government or religion. Like, we got our own thing going over here on the side, so we're not going to be. So it's a very brilliant way to write a record.
Bloody but never cry submission means like physically you're going to feel the effects of it, but you're never going to submit your pride.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, you know, everybody's got to find ways to deal with adversity, you know, and deal with stress. I was just talking to somebody, you know, today and about how to manage stress and how to, you know, how to overcome that stuff. And, you know, a lot of people, the minute they see some sort of, that's why, you know, I love contact sports, you know, because you get in a situation where you get to test yourself, you know, and you get hurt, like you're genuinely hurt. And, you know, as long as you're not injured, there's a difference between being hurt and being injured, right? But like, yeah, you're hurt, you're bleeding, blah, 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 but like, can you dig inside of yourself and make it, you know, can you have it, you know? And it's one of those things where it's like, I hate being in a situation where I'm like, I want to quit now, but if I were to quit now, you know, I would kick myself in an hour. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be like, oh, why didn't I finish that thing? Or why didn't I finish this? So it's like, it's a very positive message for people to hear. Like, you've got to hear that message. You've got to find something where you're not, you know, it's like, yeah, you can acknowledge that you're bloody, you can acknowledge that you're hurt, but you don't have to sit there and, you know, and I think that's where, you know,
not move forward because of it.
Yeah, and that's where I think stuff gets misinterpreted, where I'm like, you know, if I were to say be a man, and that phrase carries with it so much baggage, and I get it, and I understand, it comes with a lot of baggage, but we don't need to throw out the baby with the bathwater. There is something admirable about a person who, you know, especially with men, it's admirable where you know, where something hurts or you're hurt or you're in pain or whatever, and you find a way to limp to the end of the finish line. You know, like, there's a YouTube clip of this guy, and this African runner guy broke his leg or something in a marathon or something like that, and he kept going, and then there's a guy who comes up behind him and picks him up, and they go together to the end of the finish line.
That's good.
There's something very well, you know, and you know, if he had ran, you know, a 5K or something like that, and he decided that he wanted a cheeseburger, like, that would not be a 5 million hit video. Like, why is that video of a person who grinds it out and is hurt and is obviously, he's limping, he's crying, he's obviously under a lot of emotional duress and physical pain. Why is that video, why are 5 million people watching that, which probably means 10 to 15 million people saw it? Why is that such a resonating, why does that resonate so much? And it's obvious. And we all know that, you know, the ability to overcome that stuff is
something
beautiful.
it's something that we all need. We all have stuff that like trips us up and breaks our legs or whatever. So then it's like when you watch somebody like do it and you watch them cross the finish line, no matter how long it takes or whatever they have to go through, then it's kind of, I don't know, it's inspiring.
Yeah, and me saying be a man doesn't mean that I think women are waifs. I mean, if anybody, if anybody wants to talk about women being waifs, just go ahead and go upstairs to a birthing unit, and you tell me that young lady is some helpless, whatever. Like that to me is like, the ultimate sort of suck it up moment, because I've been there twice with you, and like you hit this point where it's like I can't go on, but then you always get this kind of look in your eye and you're like, I'm gonna have this kid, period, end of story. And then you go and do it, and then you're able to carry out your own. And so to me it's like, to me the whole thing was unfair, because then that happened, and then you had to, then there's a placenta, and then there's tearing and stitches and all this. And I'm like, back to back to back, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I wish I could bear some of this. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, this is completely unfair. She did the big job, now she's got a placenta, and that's, and then she's torn. I'm like, oh my God, and I'm just standing there like, but God's like, I got it. Just stay here and hold her hand, and I'll guide her through this. Just because I say like, hey, suck it up and be a man, that does not mean that I believe that women are weak. And again, it's not even about like white knighting or being pro-woman or anything. Just go to a birthing unit and observe what these girls are going through, and then tell me you think that they're weak. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, forget it. It's a crazy thing to behold. I mean, back in the day, they wouldn't even let men be in that whole situation.
Yeah, why?
I don't know. I mean, I've got little theories, but I don't know. But I know my dad, when he saw my brother being born, he literally collapsed, like on the floor, like, yeah, like it's an extremely traumatic situation, and to me, it's the pinnacle of like pushing through a very, very difficult situation to get to the goal, even though you're playing hurt. And to me, it's like, we're at the gym today or whatever, and I'm like, this is a horrendous car accident that childbirth is. Mm-hmm. So a lot of that was going through my head, because it says blood will follow blood, and I'm assuming that the term means like these guys are blood brothers now, so they're gonna stick together no matter what. You know what I mean? And so, that's a beautiful concept to think about. And I just think that this is Metallica realizing that their music is doing something bigger than just, moshing around. And like, I think they're starting to figure out, like, we got a cult following here, and not only do we have a following, but we mean something. We're transcending just notes on a guitar now. Now we're building a community of people that, we are just like the tip of the spear as Metallica, exemplifying the brotherhood and things like that. It's Damage Incorporated, so it's kind of like, yes, there's a corporate element to Metallica, obviously. These guys are all multimillionaires, and I'm sure they knew they were going to become multimillionaires after this record. So there is a corporate element, but it's a group of people who are taking their pain and translating it into something redemptive. So that you have Damage Incorporated, and I just think it's brilliant, because you're not gonna spend a lot of time in this world and not be damaged somehow, some way.
I thought it was like about capitalism, like capitalist America, like especially living on your knees, conformity, or dying on your feet for honesty. Inbred, our bodies work as one. Blood. So it just seemed like it was just like what people have to go through just to make a paycheck. And Damage Incorporated to me was like how the corporation damages.
Yeah, you could sing this song in a communist construct as well, right? Like, follow our instinct, not a trend. Mm-hmm. Going against the grain until the end. Like, in communist structures, that's not something that's celebrated.
Right.
Conformity, as a matter of fact, in communist structures, conformity is not just expected, but kind of necessary to make the thing work. Mm-hmm. And so, this is a concept of like going against the grain, blazing your own trail that works in any situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And obviously people who are, especially in the metal community, it's kind of funny. Like, metal community is like, people believe that they're nonconformists, but they're conforming to the, you know, the mores of their particular subculture.
Yeah, it was the same
You
thing.
know what I'm
Like,
saying?
yeah,
Like-
we're Christians, so there's like different branches of like Christian. They'll be like, oh, here's the Pentecostals, and there's the this and that, and then there was like non-denominational,
Right.
which became a denomination, even
Right.
though it was like not a denomination, but the not denomination was a you know, it's just
Right.
same thing.
Yeah.
What's Razorback? It says slamming through, don't F with Razorback. What's
A Razorback is an animal. It
is?
Yeah, it's funny
What does
because
that look
there's a
like?
guy, there's a Navy SEAL dude that was a big Razorback guy, but he was from Arkansas.
Oh, it's that?
Yeah.
Ugh, it looks like a boar.
Yeah. They just go and wreck shop and all the rest of it. I just think, I'm like, I thought these guys were California guys because this dude was he wasn't a Texas, he was an Arkansas guy.
Okay, they're really ugly, but as babies, they're super cute.
Legendary team guy, but he was rest in peace to big homie Adam Brown. But
Wow.
yeah, so he was, you know, that was Arkansas. That was the symbol for them, the Arkansas Razorbacks or whatever. But I just think it's just talking about a, you know, this wild sort of boorish kind of thing that, you know, you don't want to. I mean, you know, when those things are full grown, it looks like you don't want to get in a conflict
Nope.
with those guys. But,
Nope.
You know, so it's like you don't want to get in a conflict with us. You know, it's just there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is a very, very deep song if you look at it in the context of Master of Puppets, especially when you juxtapose it with Battery and everything that happened in the middle. Mm-hmm. I remember the first time I saw a chiastic structure like that was actually in Revelation, the Book of Revelation, the Bible, where there's like a clear chiastic structure from beginning to end, and it's a pretty intricate code. Like it's very difficult to write that way and have it be, you know, whatever. So I think that this song, like when you look at it with Battery and then the rest of the theme of the record, is a brilliant song, and it's a brilliant way to end the record. And it's it's ironic, you know, because I don't know what order these songs get placed on, but it's the last song that Cliff Burton is on officially.
Oh, really?
And it's about their brotherhood and things like that. And then, you know, in my opinion, he was the star of this song from the bass intro to that part in the middle. And then he died. So rest in peace. He's the one that died in the bus accident.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just very, very ironic how stuff works out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like over time. But rest in peace to the big homie. It's a good song. This is a 10 for me.
Whoa. It is a 9.2 for me.
Hard metal right there. Very good song. Thank you very, very much, Sean. Been out.
Sorry, out.
Gone.